Welcome back to the programme. Coming up in this part of the show, what convinced an ordinary, sane man to believe that we're all aliens? When you look back at mankind's history, there are a number of alarming gaps. Could it be that we're all extraterrestrials? There are those who believe, in fact, you might believe this yourself, that perhaps we are descended from aliens. Perhaps they visited this planet many thousands of years ago. Now, you may think that's okay as a theory, but there's one man who believes he's got the proof to prove it as fact.
As a ufologist, I come in touch with many reports on alien activity, ET visitation to this earth. And what I have been particularly interested in is the works of Zecharia Sitchin, who is the leading authority in this country and globally as well on the actual languages of Akkadian, Babylonian, Sumerian culture. And he, as a result of his research, he wrote a number of books called the Earth Chronicles. One in particular I was particularly interested in as a ufologist, and that was called Genesis Revisited. And it gives a graphic account of a time he states is 443,000 years ago, when a group of ETs, if you want to call them, but certainly beings from another planet, descended on this Earth in the Persian Gulf area. And this particular visitation was graphically illustrated by illustrations and by writings, which the Sumerian civilization continued to keep in their records. And this is what's been discovered, and it's absolutely fantastic knowledge.
Apart from the hieroglyphics studied by Sitchin, what hard evidence is there to suggest we have alien influences so far back in our history?
Although there is no evidence to suggest that we are genetically created or have been genetically manipulated, there are there is other evidence to suggest that we have had help from some higher technological source. For example, the pyramids at the Giza Plateau in Egypt. These structures were built using huge blocks of stone, some of them weighing as much as 20 tons, 60 tons, down to 6 tons. Even so, we don't have cranes now that can actually lift that type of weight to that sort of height. And in fact, somebody actually worked out that to actually get some of the top stones on the Great Pyramid at Giza would require a ramp of about 3.5 miles long, going up at a gradual incline, and 8 rows of 5 people, if you can imagine that, actually pulling a block up the slope. It would take them forever. Someone actually worked out that it would have actually taken something like 600 years to build that using human labour. Now, that is unexplained, and the mathematical equations involved in actually building a structure of that sort are immense.
Geologists will not have an answer to why suddenly, against all Darwinian theory of natural selection, mankind suddenly...
Creating mankind as we know it.
In Genesis chapter 6 it says, and God said, let us, was discussing with others, plural, to create mankind. What he wanted to do was to create a being which would in fact be a slave to the gods. That's rather a sobering idea, the fact that we were actually created as slaves, but that's what the writings tell us. And so he used the genetic engineering that he knew, and the hominid creature was used with the sperm of the Anunnaki, which was another term for the rank and file of the Nephilim, who were the ETs coming down from Nibiru. The sperm was used to cross-pollinate and actually create, the egg was then installed into goddesses. We call them goddesses, but they were the female ETs. And Ishtar, who was the first, the prime role in this, she was the first mother of mankind. And it says that the egg was, she volunteered to have the egg implanted in her and to see what would be produced. It's fascinating because these ETs were looked upon as gods, plural. And this is where so many different civilizations after the Sumerians, the Egyptians, Greeks and so forth, all referred to gods. And their reference to gods in their particular beliefs stemmed from this original happening.
And if you think the idea of our forefathers mating with aliens is far-fetched, remember this view from NASA veteran Gentry Lee.
We should seriously consider the likelihood that life might have evolved on Mars when it was warmer and wetter. There does not, as of today, exist proof, but here is a real scientific motivation. I personally believe that there's a very high likelihood that life flourished for a brief epoch on Mars. And it may even be true that it was that life that became transferred over here for the beginnings of us, in which case that would make all of us Martians.
There is evidence to suggest that we actually we have the same elements and compounds in our body that are very similar to meteorites that have been found dating back billions of years. So, in fact, we could be descended from that sort of thing.
Martians, perhaps, but what of the notion that half our family tree, as it were, is alien?
Who knows? There have been jumps in man's evolution, however, that can't be explained. For example, one moment we were sort of sitting around naked, eating berries off trees. Next thing, we're clothed, we've got fire, and we're killing animals, we're hunting. Then we're making objects out of iron, and I can give. I can't see any other explanation to it. There must have been some interference somewhere, but there's no evidence.
Even if it's true we are part alien, wouldn't it take a massive leap in faith to believe it?
We've entered the age of Aquarius, which is the age of the thinker, of the people that are aware. And human consciousness is being raised all the time. I think the overwhelming sense from the masses, many of these sectors won't accept it. In fact, because of their fanaticism, it's very difficult for them to accept that the gods who created us were ET.
On the surface, some of David's theories do seem to be a little far-fetched. But if you look a little deeper and you look at some of the evidence that's out there, perhaps it is possible that we could have been descended from aliens, from extraterrestrials, from other galaxies. Look at all the references, even in the Bible, to UFOs and strange beings. And what about all those ancient cave paintings and huge drawings in the Nazcan Desert? Who or what made them? Perhaps we really are related to someone or something up there.